Forgot to bring some stuff down for show and tell. Good morning. Good freaking morning. Nice to be back at the bench. Thank you, Ken. Good to see you. Good to see you, Joe. It's nice to be back. Going to do a little bit of a recap of the show. It's been so long, I've kind of forgotten what I've done on this thing. Anyway, how you guys doing? Let me move this thing like this a little bit. There we go. How are you gents doing? How, let me see, when did I leave? Last time I did this on Thursday, so what, we've gotten almost 4 days. How are things? Hopefully everything is uneventful. I'm working within my designated settings. Nice. Things get any better at work, Joe, or are they still kind of like, I gotta get the fuck out of here? And my friend Ken, how are you? Something with my life since we last spoke. Really? Nothing? Nothing with the kids? Nothing with the family? Nothing to report back from work that could have been of entertainment value to us? I'm on the fence, so let's say that. I'm in the lifeboat. Yeah. I actually... Sorry about that, guys. I thought a lot about the and basically because you guys are the two that have been somewhat vocal recently about your jobs and just the difficulty of them, right? Look, and I don't think the difficulty isn't the work, right? The difficulty is literally the people we work for. I'm assuming. If I'm wrong, let me know. But, I've been thinking a lot about you guys, and I'm just in a place right now where I'm going to need to find something that is going to not, I can't wake up every day feeling stressed, I just don't want it in my life. So the good thing is my wife is coming back next weekend. I can't even begin to say how excited I am for that. To have her back, to have a level of normalcy return in that part of our lives is going to be huge. The benefit of her job, her new job, and the pay structure is going to be very, very good. It will allow us to make some family decisions that I'm hoping will be beneficial to all of us. And by all of us, I mean, yes, I'm going to start with me and getting my brain where it needs to be, and then being able to do some stuff with the family that I think is going to be helpful. and not feel like I'm actually like just completely burning out. Nick, what's going on, brother? I'm gonna wait until 6:30, and I'm gonna then do a little show and tell. But in the meantime, I can begin on the on our ODO recap. Since we were there, we left Friday morning. I'll give you just sort of the overall show rundown. We left Friday morning and drove down to Jersey to pick up Brian Denklow. You guys might know him as Bro Builder. Went down a little further to Jersey, the southern part near Philly, picked up another friend, Ken. There were 8 of us in this massive van. We had a 15 passenger van, which Mason drove all the way down and around. He was like our chauffeur. It was, God bless him. I don't like to drive, and I'm so thankful that he did. So we got down to Maryland. We hit Hobbytown. The Hobbytown in Richmond, Virginia. That is one of the largest hobby stores I've ever seen. It actually, let me rephrase that. That is the largest hobby store I've ever seen. That thing is huge. Mason was Ken Kesey driving the bus, exactly. Nice. So he did a fabulous job. And he likes to drive, which is like, it's like, have at it. What you get us? I got you regaling of stories. But I would certainly recommend, if you're in the DC area, the Richmond, Virginia area, there's a 2-hour difference, driving difference between DC and Richmond. I would say hit it up. They've got so much good stuff there. Models of, I only didn't get too far to see a lot of the store because when I got there, it's just like immediately, I just saw Nick LaPrade and my good friend Sam Wood. Guys know Sam. I talk about Sam in a little bit, but there's a lot of other people there. We went out to dinner after that. We then got to our B&B, our Airbnb, excuse me. And then after a night's sleep, got up the next morning and hit the show. And like Hobbytown, it was the largest show I've ever attended. It was at the Richmond Raceway in their Old Dominion room, I guess, which is a large space. Hey, Tom, good morning. That is Sam's Stomping Ground. It is. Like I said, I will talk about Sam in a little bit. But we got to the show and it was massive. We found out at the very end there were about 350 participants, which is almost more than twice what we had at PatCon. And there were 1,150 models in competition. 1,150 models plus in competition, which is approximately twice what we had. So their space is much larger, first of all. If we did that, we'd be kind of screwed right now. But it was fabulous to see that many models. And I did not judge, which means I had an opportunity to actually walk around and see a bunch of models. Did I take photos of them? No. We'll table that one for another time. But it was an absolutely fabulous show. The models at the Gundam table were extremely well done. There was a lot of excellent finish work in a lot of this stuff. It was nice to see a pretty high level of work. In fact, even some of the other areas that I had a chance to go check out, like the plane models and the the car models, again, real high level work. So it was a terrific it is. In some ways, it was probably one of and it was one of the best run shows I've seen. Everything seemed to flow. I did talk to a couple people afterward, and I guess they're like every show, ours included. There's always the mad scramble. Hey, we're looking for judges, but the overall experience was fabulous. And the award ceremony went pretty quickly. I was actually surprised considering the number of models. It started late. I think they got done by almost 6 o'clock, but it was good, and it just kind of flowed. We then went to dinner, and wrapped up. And then the next morning, yesterday, we went to the. And by dinner, I mean like there were like 40 of us who went to dinner. Was it a Saturday show? It was. Yeah. So Sunday, we were planning on driving back. We got a quick bite to eat in the morning, and then we went over to the Udvar Hazy Museum at the Smithsonian, which is just outside of D.C. And I took almost 200 photos of planes. The space shuttle Discovery is there in its final appearance, meaning that they didn't clean it up. The way it came back down is the way it's now on display. So you want to see weathering on that craft, go see that craft. The amount of planes that were there were, again, some of them that were the detail of the landing struts, all of that stuff. It's like I just snapped up photos of like everything, including some stuff that will be helpful for this guy when I get back to him. Space damage. Yeah, dude, the shuttle itself and seeing like the tiles, and then there was a guy who was kind of like a docent, but he wasn't an in-person docent. He was doing live. He was probably somewhere else, and people would walk by this TV monitor, and he would say, "Hey, how are you? Yes, I'm live." And if you had questions, you could ask him the questions. And he described like that was the Discovery flew 39 missions, and you could see on the tiles which ones were replaced and which ones were older. And there were tiles on there that were there from the beginning, because Discovery first flew, I think, in '84. Yeah, it is a. So Tom, you've been to it, right? It was absolutely fabulous. It's bigger than you thought. The space shuttle was. It was actually about what I thought. It looked big. It was certainly big, and I think what was surprising was going to the backside and seeing the thrusters. Those were huge. It's like, wow. There was a lot of interesting stuff. Again, a lot of detailed photos I took of that, because I think I want to incorporate some of that into some Gundam thruster ideas that I have. But yeah, it was definitely a pretty freaking large bird. The Concorde was there. One of the French supersonic commercial jets was there. They had the Enola Gay there. That was interesting. They have the remnants of a Horton 229, a couple of them. A number of German planes, a number of Japanese planes. They have the remnants of a Shinden there. The was it? I never get the numbering right. Whatever that plane is called. The one with the propeller in the back. Let's see. I've been to it when the Enterprise was there. Really? I like to see the Enterprise, just from a historical perspective. I remember when the Enterprise was launched off of the Boeing back in the late 70s. Crazy times. They were oversized, compensated for something. Yeah, I don't think so. They were overcompensating for something. That's gravity. Haven't been since Discovery relocated there. That's the Sheeden. Yeah, the Sheeden was great. So they had parts of the Sheeden there, which Sam informed me is her absolutely favorite plane, and she wants to build one, and she's got a Zukemura version of it. I'm like, oh, Sam, build that thing. She goes, I know I should. We then had a brief lunch at Wawa, grabbed something, and headed back north, and got back last night around, dropping everybody off. We did stop for Pepe's Pizza, not at the original place, but in Fairfield. And we got home around 11:30 last night. So long time. So on a personal note, I will say a couple things. The first is that I'm gonna put this down now. So the show itself was like I said, it was fantastic. I learned a lot about myself at that show. That show burned me out. Like by midday, with all of the activity at the tables, the retailers, all the people that were there. At one point, everybody said, "Hey, let's go to lunch." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not hungry, but I do need to take a step away a little bit." We went to lunch, sat down. We went to a place called Sugar's Crab Shack. And I wasn't very hungry, but by the time we actually sat down, got the meal and everything, it was good. It was good timing. I didn't realize how much I kind of was starting to melt, meaning that it was like overwhelming. Hey, Robert, good morning. Oh, no, we're just talking about ODO. I'm filling everybody in on what we did this past weekend with ODO, and then going to the Udvar Hazy Museum. But when I got back, I was feeling a lot more energized, and it is a very overwhelming show. And about me personally, it is. I know I don't do very well, like it's just overstimulation. It really hit me hard, to the point where I knew I was starting to be like, I got to get the fuck away from everybody. So the lunch break was fabulous. In fact, we got back to the show. We then hung out with a bunch of people, and that went very well. Afterward, I'm gonna be, and I'm certain I'm not gonna make a lot of friends with some of my friends down in Virginia, but I will say, I do think the judging of that show, it left a little bit to be desired, in my opinion. And that is, and I'm going to be the first to admit, I did not win anything. I'm not saying I should have. I do believe that there were models on tables that I'm like, I don't understand why this one. And again, everybody sees things their own way. And I'm not going to be that kind of a critical guy about, oh, this guy should have won over that guy. I just looked at the table because I spent a lot of time in front of the mecha tables and felt like, did someone pick up your models? They did not. Hey, what's going on, Dwayne? Good morning. How you doing, brother? Dwayne was a consummate good friend throughout the entire show and just ushered us around. And we had a lovely time hanging out with Dwayne, in particular yesterday at the museum, having his kiddos there. Always good. I love your kiddos, Dwayne. Nobody picked up models. In fact, I think that was part of the problem. There was a no touching of any kind of model, at least in the mecha category, which I think made judging, I will put it this way, I think it made it challenging. And I think the task did not meet the challenge. They're so much fun. Yes, they are. So the judging, I thought, was a little like left me scratching my head on a number of different places. So that was again, that was the one criticism I had about the show, that I think that they have places that they can definitely improve. But it's their show. I come to your house. It's your rules. You guys do what you want. And I will always say that in the same way I say the same thing about our show. This is our show. This is our house. Play by our rules. If you don't like the show, make some choices and decisions. Do I go to the show? Do I not go to the show? That's on you. Touch the models and everyone gets upset. Don't touch the models. People get upset. Exactly. And that's why I think it's like, look, find a show that you like that works with how you don't mind being models being judged. Absolutely. So, but again, not to take away from the overall quality, as we all came back with saying, there were certainly some models on there, and I'm sure a lot of that stuff was the stuff that competed at Nats the year before. 6 months before? Yeah, 6 months before. Makes perfect sense. There was a lot of great stuff there. I want to do I want to give a massive shout out to Sam. Hey Mike, good morning. I got to hang with Linda and Rue yesterday. Hey, that's awesome. Where were you guys? Sam, I saw Sam on Friday night when we got into Richmond, and we went to the hobby town there. And then we spent quite a bit of time together during the show floor, but I think I was not in my best frame of mind because it was just so overwhelming. Yesterday, she and I basically walked the museum kind of on our own. Our conversation is something I will always remember. And we had an awesome time talking about not just about the planes that we saw, the models that were there. We just had a lovely time talking about ourselves and our families and all that stuff. And it was the perfect way to end leaving Virginia. So I want to, if Sam watches this and recap, I would say, hey, Sam, thank you so much. I can't tell you what that conversation meant to me. It was just what I needed. So I spent the past 3.5 days snapping up the PG new. Good for you, Tom. Greetings, model citizens. We resemble that. All right. It's nice to be home and making my own coffee. I will tell you that. All right. So what did I pick up? I walked the floor. There were no models that just kind of like, oh my God, I got to get that. There was a Meng Merkava Mark IV-M that was on the floor. I'm sorry, that was in a box for like $40. I'm like, oh, that's a great price. And it's like, what am I going to do with it? As I'm trying to move away from 1/35th scale, not fully, but just, I'm much more cognizant of what I'm going to pick up for models. It really has to say, yes, buy me now. There were a few things that I saw, a few that I had in my collection, but generally when I went down there, I was looking for a very few bits of armor modeling, which I didn't see. Normally, like I said, around 1/72nd scale. Did try to pick up some, or if I found any old models. There was surprisingly very little in terms of older models there. Older Gundam models. The amount of Gundam stuff that was there was actually really thin. It's actually enjoyable for the size it is. That's nice. We were at the train show at the Auburn Elks. They stopped by for a few. Rue likes N scale trains. Cool. Is he going to start building N scale trains now? Nice. Hey, Kevin, good morning. I'm heading to work right now. Oh, good luck today at work, Kevin. Hopefully it'll be a nice, peaceful day for you. I'm surprised you even saw Gundam model kits. No, there were some models there. In fact, I have it here. I did not pick up any models. However, what I did pick up, and I had a chance to speak very briefly with Grips the guy who does the Plamo model show down in, I believe it's in Georgia. And I did pick up this. And thumbing through this issue, this is extremely well done. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you. This is $20. And he's trying to publish this thing quarterly. I will be certainly looking forward to picking up more of the stuff here. There's a complete, like, yeah, right, like on the cover, the van ship from Last Exile. Sort of a construction process on it. I'm looking forward to this. I would absolutely encourage people to, if you can find this at a show, pick this up. Not going to enjoy it as much when I get to the funnels. I got 12 or so old plane kits from the 90s. You have now 12. Oh, is that by choice? So this is a fabulous book, you know. And you've got some really impressive, primarily Gundam modelers like Ryan Lau. Sorry, I'm not doing a great job of showing this, but highly recommended. This was like Sam. I saw Sam with hers, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Grips is back there. You should go talk to Chris and go pick it up." I'm like, "All right, such a great magazine." Yeah, it really is. I mean, and for the price, guys, it is a screaming bargain. Screaming bargain. Next issue is up for pre-order now, $3.15. I should probably order it then. Thank you for letting me know that. I did not know that, Robert. Neighbors cleaning out the house, getting ready to move in a few months, and was going to trash them. Oh, really? That's nice. I highly recommend reading more. We need more English MOOCs. Yeah. And I hope that it continues, because I think there's some stuff in there that you're right, we're just not seeing in English publications, which is great. All right. So the second thing I got was when we were walking through there was basically a supply place there that was selling AK products. Awesome. So I picked up, by recommendation from my friend Don, I picked up the 6-color combo painting on how to paint skin tones by Calvin Tan. And it includes literally a quick little instruction book, which I thumbed through. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You know, I've been playing with using oils and other acrylics for painting skin tones. Looking at the information that excuse me, that Ray sent me, but having more information on how to do this and talking to Don. Don Johnson's one of my my buddies. He's the guy who was the head judge over at Wings and Wheels, and his recommendation for this is like, you got to take a look at this, because the way he comes across is fabulous. Yutong Pan has a ridiculous diorama bill made from an air filter and that. Really, I'm looking forward to reading that. Ooh, I promise to be nicer to you because I know of Last Exile. George, props. I loved Last Exile. That is one of my all-time favorite anime. I love. In fact, Brian Denklau picked up the book and he's like, yeah, I know I've heard about this van ship thing, and there's this little ship here that people fly in. It's supposed to be like, it's like, Brian, have you not heard of Last Exile? He goes, no. It's like, you have to watch Last Exile. There's a link to the video too, I think. There probably is, which is pretty cool. But even just having like just a little printed book just to understand how these are laid down. I think my brain doesn't work in artist ways, meaning I don't think how a painter thinks, because painting is not my deal. This is kind of, it's going to be kind of fascinating to see how this ends up. But it looks like there are 3 paints in here, and then there are like a gel paint, which is the thing that kind of creates more of the tonality. Hey, Tony, good morning. Depends on the scale. Oils are good for larger scales. Acrylics is to use a wet palette. Yep. which I have been using recently and I'm happy about. So that was the second thing. And then the last thing I picked up, and again, this is like there's a lot of stuff there, but it's like, again, it's like, how much do you really need? So I picked up some AK third gen thinner, and then as many of these things as I could find, because I'm completely out of any water-based acrylic metallics, aluminum, silver, dark aluminum, oily steel. I love oily steel. Gunmetal and natural steel. So I picked up 6 of these things because I had no acrylic metal. So now it's been replenished. In the past, I've used the Vallejo metal colors, which are really, really good. But those things, man, half of them dried out before I could do anything really with them. There's Vallejo's, I don't know if it's their ability to transport or if it's just the quality of the material inside. I don't know what it is. The stuff doesn't last long. So I'm hoping this stuff does, and I understand that, first of all, let's be honest, water-based acrylics have a tendency to not be like lacquers, right? And you can't suddenly rejuvenate them either. So that's what we got. I sent a pic of 2 of the 164 figures I painted a couple days ago. Thank you. I'll take a look at that, Ray. I appreciate it. I've been kind of off of just about everything yesterday. I needed to step away from my phone for the most of the last couple of days. In fact, I go away, come back, and suddenly it's like, oh, look, we're at war. Fucking great. I should pick up some brown and black water-based acrylics. Yes, you should. How are the AK metallics? I'm ready to bin my Vallejo. I can't speak to these specifically, Ray. The AK, again, I'm kind of stepping back and giving you a long-winded answer. The AK Real Color stuff, I love their paints. AK's paints have been fabulous. The AK third gen standard acrylics that I've been using, I've enjoyed quite a bit. I think you will too, because you're one of those guys who's like, I prefer to have a standard water-based thick paint and I'll thin it the way I want, whether for airbrushing or whatever. I think you'll appreciate the paints. The way they work, the way they've applied, generally, I've enjoyed. Are they better or worse than Vallejo? I think they seem to be more robust. Let's just put it that way. Hi, Tony the Tiger. Vallejo metal color caps suck. Yes, they do. These seem to be certainly better. Yeah, the one thing I've also noticed with the Vallejo, their little spout tends to crack a lot, which doesn't help. When you look at a pic, there's a quarter next to them. I'm gonna paint behind. I've heard good things about the AK. AK paints are right now sort of like a go-to. If I were to look for, if I could find them, and that's the hard thing, if I could find a lacquer, it's either going to be Mr. Color or it's going to be AK, because they have generally the stuff that I'm interested in. And I know there's some people out there who say, yeah, but Gaia and Mr. Color tend to have brighter, a whole lot of more variety of stuff. Absolutely. The stuff that I'm working on now tends to have a slightly more toned down look, and AK has that in spades. Vallejo has opacity issues for me. I don't want to get 8 coats to make it solid. Yeah, I can understand that. Right, pick up a couple and see what you think. That would be my recommendation. So anyway, that is the show. I'll just recap real quickly. ODO is an absolute must-attend show if you can make it down there. It is a huge show. I understand that they have some challenges with the mecha people and categories from my conversations with Nick. Nick and I had a long conversation about some directionality, which he and I will probably further. But the show was absolutely fabulous, and I couldn't encourage anybody to go down there. The other nice thing about it is, given that we were snowed up here, being down there where it was in the 60s felt awesome. So recharge my batteries that way a little bit. Let's just have a good job. The school to make some for pain. Woo woo. Have a great day, Space. Joe, you too, brother. Well, Betsy is kind of very different between lines. Yeah, later, Joe. Yeah, a little bit. That is true. So the show is fantastic. I do question their ability to. No, that's not a fair way of putting it. I'm not 100% certain that their judging is the way I think judging should be done. We'll leave that there. About myself, I learned a lot about who I am and how easily it takes for me to burn out when I'm in crowds like that. Because now it's not the first time it's happened, but it was definitely a burnout. And then going to the museum and hanging out with Sam was absolutely what I needed this weekend. So it was a great way to end. That's coming out. It was a great way to end a fantastic trip. Alcohol spray is very opaque. Volley, however, brushed on, completely opaque. Warm weather and food recharges Geo. Actually, more so, it's just stepping away. Stepping away when it's like, and I remember when we went to Anime NYC, the same thing happened. It's like, I am so overstimulated here. If I don't step away, I'm going to explode. I still remember the anxiety that came about, and I was starting to feel something like that by around noon 1. It's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. It's also disappointing. One thing about ODO that is disappointing, it's I'm surprised they don't have tables for people to sit at outside. Just a bunch of tables. Look, it's not. They may not have control over it because of the venue, but it would have been nice to have the ability to sit outside. And I'm not saying our show's any better, because all shows are kind of like that. Where do you sit? Do you offer water? That was the one thing that's like nobody around the area had any drinks to offer. It's like, that's pretty bad. Always have snacks when Geo is around. Yes, also bring horse visual binders for Geo. Okay, Tom. Nice. Anyway, but a great show that I do recommend, and I'm hoping to go back in sometime in the next couple of years and go from there. So with that said, step away the evolution of the dance move. Lean back. Yeah. Lean back. So now I'm back to getting this guy done, which I'm happy about. I brought a couple models to work on while we were out there, because again, not knowing how late the event was on Friday night at the Hobby Town, but we got there, I think, a little later than we expected. We got there around 7:30 and they closed at 8, so not gonna have much chance to break out a model and start working on it, especially when there was so much conversation to be had with people. So that was that. And I'm hoping everybody had, like I said, hoping everybody had a good, enjoyable weekend themselves. I think most everybody else is kind of tuned out. When you feed George his unsalted roasted almonds, remember flat palms. Nice. AKR from MIG, right? AK is not. MIG was part of AK years ago, and then he split off and started his own thing. MIG Productions, Ammo by MIG, is a separate company. AK is the yeah, I'll show you real quickly because I'm finding I'm not I don't care which company does what. I just find that AK generally, if I can focus on one brand because they have a lot of overlap between the two brands, but that's the AK brand right there, brand logo, AK Interactive. I'll be resting all week. I had doggy training, got the chest, waist, and legs and feet all arm. Nice. Sounds like it was a productive weekend for you as well, Tony. I'll be resting all week. Nice. Any good Gunpla builds? Yes, there were a lot of very good Gunpla builds. There was a lot of good mecha builds there. A lot of good ones. I will say my favorite Gundam model there was one that had many flaws in its construction and some of its finish, but they did this galaxy paint job with planets and stars and different color schemes for the like different black color schemes for the sky. It was memorable because again, they went above and beyond. The fit and finish of the model, I don't think were great, but the paint work done for that for the planets and the stars and everything like that was awesome. Once again, it kind of goes to show that you go to one of these shows and the model that usually does extremely well and wins is normally not the model that is the most memorable. At least that's how it's always been for me. AK have a lot of familiar, similar. Yep, there was a nice nightingale. It was a nice nightingale. I don't recall seeing the nightingale. The show is so overstimulating and I have no social battery. Yeah, that's my battery is gone. In fact, I'm kind of glad to be home just to kind of, okay, I need to recharge. Let's see what else. It was not bad. Starts a busy week though. Yeah. Do you have anything to going on with your parents as well, Tony? I'm very thankful that I took the day off. I am going to see if I can zoom in and go over a couple things with at work, but generally it's like I'm not firing up the laptop or doing anything. I'm taking the day off. Let's get I don't know who wanted Pac-Com. Oh, I don't either. And I was one of the judges, to be honest. You know, this is part of the nightingale was purple and pink and very glossy. Okay, think I remember it now. Again, see, this is part of it. It's when you look at a table full of really great models, the ones that stand out are the ones that kind of deviate and tell a story. Like that Kshatriya was one that was just it was just beautiful to look at because it was not Gundam. I'm gonna say this. Gundam to me is much like armor. At some point, when you look at a table full of great builds, even though they're flashy and they got great poses and they've done some really nice work, it's like, all right, I'm kind of bored. It's all great stuff. When you're seeing a table full of really great stuff, I'm looking for the thing that kind of pops. Armor is the same way. It's like I look at armor and it's like, look at all these great tanks. And you look at the first one, it's like, that's a great looking green tank. Oh, that's okay. They're all great. And then it just becomes a flood of awesomeness. It's the one downside to shows, I think. It's when you have that many models in a category, it's you become so overwhelmed with what you're seeing that it all starts to blend. And the one that stands out is the one that whether it has extremely good construction and finish or not, it's the one that just stands out because it's saying something different, you know. An example, and since Dwayne's here, Dwayne's bat plane, when he brought it to PACCON, was great. Then he put it on that base, and now it turned that model into something totally different. Even though that was a non-custom base, it was basically what, like a light of some sort. Putting those two things together in that the way it was done made that thing stand out. Now, next to it were these 14 F4s, because somebody has this hard on for F4s, and they were all great too. But I'm like, okay, you got 14 F4s, F4 Phantoms. It's like, yeah, these are really nice. Oh my God, this app, like you're looking at them and it's like, what the fuck am I looking at? Okay. Then I go back to Dwayne's plane, which is like, like a couple models over, and I'm like, this thing is standing out. These things look really great. This thing is standing out. Level work was amazing. I think it's made by someone in the MW Discord. Nice. You need a new battery. Can't change batteries, Tom. That's just the way we're built. I wish it were that easy. Want to meet for a coffee later? We'll be in West Boylston later this morning, headed to Maggie's Pets and CTM. What time are you thinking, Mike? I don't know why he has the spare parts catalogs, aka nice. How many people have the time to finish a PG in the time span since release? That's why I like Tom's F1 Gundam Seed MGs. Yep. There are those independent batteries. Yeah, they don't exist. Got to upgrade internal. Can't up, Tom. The only thing you can do is understand that look, we all have our things, and I understand that this is my thing. And the better thing to do is, you want to recharge, just step away. That's what you have to do. Or understand that the show that you're going to, and understand that if it's going to be that problematic, maybe you find a different tack, meaning that you may not be able to attend. If it's that problem. It's when the anxiety goes up that significantly. And I was surprised by how quickly my anxiety went up. I did not expect that. It was a good time to just kind of step away. And I'm glad we were able to go to lunch, and it actually helped quite a bit. But you can't just change that. That's not a, hey, I'm going to replace a part with a better part. Boy. I mean, part of me is really starting to feel, just replace that detail. I really want to replace that detail. Gotta upgrade internal. Yeah, not gonna happen. Yeah, today is take mom to the bank, to Costco. Then I have a doctor appointment tomorrow. Then Thursday is dad's foot doctor appointment. Oof. Wow, that sounds like a lot. Good luck, Tony. You can refresh and improve battery performance exercise more. Yes, I'm not, Tom, everything you're saying, I can certainly do. That's defeatist attitude. No, Tom, it's actually understanding who you are. I'm not saying I can't improve, and I'm not saying all of the things you're suggesting aren't going to be things that will be beneficial. But it's also a very important thing to understand who you are as a person. Was also at 1400, which was evident when I acted like a loud idiot at lunch. You were, well, you said, no, you actually sat with us. That's right. You weren't a loud idiot. You were actually entertaining as hell. That was a bit much. I didn't get that sense. I mean, how you felt is different. Maggie's probably was at a 10 around there, and say, okay, if I'm not in on a Zoom call, yes, I will meet up with you guys. Do me a favor and just text me when you guys are heading over, and I will let you know if I'm on a Zoom call or not. I need to do a recap with some people on some projects, because we have not done so in 2 weeks, and it's becoming problematic. Say between 10 and 12. Okay, thank you. Good to know. Self-care is important. Yeah, that's me masking and my being completely overwhelmed. Yeah. So did you feel better when we were at lunch? Because I certainly did. I did. Again, the food was good. The food was actually excellent. It was very tasty, but the food was definitely helpful. But so was just getting away from the show floor. Right. What time is it? I'm gonna be on until around 1:15, and then I'm gonna head upstairs and spend a little time with my daughter Zoe. I did not get a chance to really see her last night. Some coffee here. Lunch helped. Yes, it did. Sunday was more my speed. Yeah, agreed. I agree with Robert. Self-care is important. That is why I have my special self-care sock. Is that the one that's got like it's filled with sand and you just kind of hit yourself with it? Perfect. 7:15. Well, let me actually get the kids ready for school without dipping early. Did you run into Robert? He did not make it to the show. At least not that I was aware of. Which is fine. All good. Yeah, the only major regret I had was I was supposed to meet up with the new president of the Southern Virginia chapter, and we got our wires crossed. It's on me, but we got our wires crossed and did not get a chance to meet up, which is unfortunate because I really wanted a chance to talk to him. Bone marrow draw is a hospital I've never really been to, but one time it is an hour away and we have to be there 8 a.m. They said they will be there until like noon to 1. Or, yeah, long day indeed. And then you got driving back. Ugh. Oh, what a shame. Nah, Mike, congratulations on the name change. Seriously. Mike, is it official now? Are you guys back to being Turn 4? Seriously, exercise will help you feel better on a daily basis. Too much sitting in our culture. Yeah, Tom, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I can tell you right now, it will help. And for nothing else, I just need to get a lot more active. And something that Brian Denklau and I had a conversation about late yesterday about that. It's like, yeah, because he wants to get back into skating a little bit, and I want to get back on my bike. And I miss hitting rail trails, but the weather has not been cooperative for that. But it will help. But I also understand, even when I was at a healthier place, this is more than just more than that. I'm not saying it's not going to help, but I also don't want to look at it as like a panacea that, oh, look, if you do this, it will fix the problem. It's like it's not that way. March 1st, yes, sir. Now Turn 4, toys and hobbies. Nice. And how long before you relocate back to Massachusetts? That's the big question. Has been kicked to the curb, yeah. Well, I'm happy that it worked out for you guys, Mike. Yeah, it sounds like that time finally drew, and it was good. Good time to kind of call it quits. I'm almost done here. Makes me kind of happy. I'm not sure how it's coming out. Hmm. Let's see. In-laws turn 84. All I'm saying. Yep. Says I'm going to fix things and just looking at it. Just help keep your mind and body healthier. Later, Nick. Have a good one, brother. Is this something about going from the store chain? Or am I complete? Nope, you are absolutely misremembering. Hobbytown is it's basically it's a franchise, right? And Mike was a franchisee. And it appears that franchisee opportunity has been relegated, as Mike said, to the dustbin or the curb. Unserious tonic says will make you act like a 4-year-old again. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Almost there. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. Oh, mercy. Whew. It's like, all right. 10-year contract with Hobbytown that expired. We have gone back to independent. Nice. Is that not what I thought? That is what you thought. I assume. I can't read your mind. So, but snow in Ohio keeps me inside more in the winter. Yep. Want exercise? Work at UPS. Get paid for your workout. Nice. Scrubbing makes so much dust. It can. Thanks for clarifying, Mike. I confused when George said I misremembered. All right, guys, what time is it? Yeah, it's time to bail. All right. I'm going to probably work on this guy at some point later today just to get this last bit wrapped up. Just trying to. really want to, let's get this thing off my bench. I was thinking a lot about it last night, just how many models I have to, or just stuff that I've started on this bench. And I may actually go get some containers very soon to start boxing some stuff up. Put the shelf queens in something that'll be better stored. All right. And with that, we're stopping now. Okay. Time to head to the coffee mug for breakfast. Later, guys. George, I'll reach out later. Sounds good, Mike. Take it easy, brother. We need to pick a Saturday and meet at Time Machine soon. After my wife moves back and we get her settled back in. As I think I mentioned recently, Ray, probably sometime in April. We'll probably work. Got to get through the next 4 weeks. I might give you a ring later today, but I reserve the right to just crash. Nice. We're still IGN. Were you still on IG in August? Yes, because I switched over to YouTube full-time last March. We're coming up to the 1-year anniversary of that. All right, guys, stay safe and stay sane. Thanks for being on this morning. I do appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for letting me regale you on ODO. Do recommend you guys check out the show if you're ever in the area. It is a fabulous show. And if you can head down that way, especially in the winter when it's a little warmer, not bad. Guys, go out there and do good. Stay safe and stay sane. Brighten the world as much as you possibly can. It's like I can't believe I'm saying this. Every day it gets crazier, and especially now. Make it a better place. Show love, kindness, and respect for everyone. Okay? No matter the differences they have with you, just be kind. Okay? Do good. Enjoy. Love you all, and I will catch you on the flip. Peace.